The Apple Watch series. 11 is the most boring and simultaneously the most important upgrade Apple S released in years. Because while everyone is obsessing over whether the screen is bright enough or if the titanium looks prettier than aluminum, they missing the one thing that actually changes how you use this watch every single day. You don't have to babysit the battery anymore. Let me be blunt, if you own a Series 10, don't buy this. You're paying $400 for 6 extra hours of battery and a slightly tougher screen. That's it. Save your money. But if you're rocking a Series 8 or older, this is your year. Here's what actually matters. The Series 11 gets 24 hours of real battery life, not Apple's fantasy math. I wore this thing through back-to-back spin classes, answered texts during meetings, tracked sleep for a week straight, and still woke up with juice left over. That means you can actually use sleep tracking without playing battery roulette. Charge it for 15 minutes while you shower, and you're good until tomorrow night. This is the first Apple Watch that doesn't punish you for using its features. The hypertension monitoring? It could literally save your life. 1.3 billion people worldwide have high blood pressure and don't know it because it's silent. The Series 11 watches your blood vessels react to your heartbeat over 30 days and alerts you if something is off. It's not a diagnosis, but it's an early warning system that could catch a heart attack before it happens. That alone justifies the price tag. Now let's talk about what reviews aren't telling you. The screen brightness is only 2000 nits. The Samsung Galaxy Watch 8 hits 3000 nits. That's a 50% difference, and yes, you will notice it at the beach or on a sunny run. Samsung's display is legitimately easier to read in brutal sunlight. Apple's banking on their wide-angle old tech to compensate, and honestly, it works pretty well from odd angles, but direct desert sun at noon, Samsung wins. The 5G cellular upgrade is completely meaningless for 90% of users. Unless you're constantly leaving your phone at home and streaming music on LTE, you will never notice the difference between 4G and 5G on a watch. It's a spec sheet checkbox, not a real-world game changer. Here's a hidden feature nobody's talking about: the wrist flick gesture. Flick your wrist away from your body to dismiss notifications, silence alarms, or reject calls. Sounds gimmicky until you're walking your dog, holding a coffee, and your boss calls. One flick, problem solved. It's the kind of small detail that becomes muscle memory in 2 days. The sleep score feature is brilliantly simple compared to competitors. While Garmin and Whoop bury you in REM stages and HRV data, Apple gives you a number out of 100 based on 3 things: how long you slept, how consistent your bedtime was, and how many times you woke up. No pseudoscience, no algorithms guessing about deep sleep stages, just actionable data. If your score is 60, you know you need to fix something. Let's address the elephant in the room. Siri is still painfully stupid. Samsung's Galaxy Watch 8 has Google Gemini, which can handle complex questions, contextual follow-ups, and actually feels like I from 2026. Siri on the Series 11. She can set timers and start workouts, and that's about where her talents end. If you're expecting ChatGPT on your wrist, prepare for disappointment. The Workout Buddy voice coach is hit or miss. When it works, it's like having a personal trainer whisper stats in your ear during runs. But the voice is slightly robotic, and if you're someone who hates being talked to during exercise, you'll turn it off after day 1. It's a nice to have, not a must-have. Here's the deal breaker for some people. GPS tracking is still single band, not dual frequency. In urban canyons with tall buildings or dense forests, cheaper watches like the Pixel Watch 4 will occasionally out-track the Series 11. Apple's betting their algorithm is smart enough to compensate, and for suburban runners, it absolutely is. But if you're trail running in Colorado or navigating downtown Manhattan's concrete jungle, you might see slight distance discrepancies compared to a Garmin. The durability upgrade is real. That Ion X glass is twice as scratch-resistant as last year. I've banged this thing against door frames, dragged it across gym equipment, and there's not a mark on it. If you're clumsy or work with your hands, this matters more than any spec sheet feature. The real question: Series 11 versus Galaxy Watch 8? If you're on iPhone, this isn't even a contest. The Galaxy Watch barely functions with iOS, but if you're on Android, the Galaxy Watch 8 gives you better battery life, 30 plus hours, a brighter screen, body composition analysis, and superior AI for $50 less. Samsung wins on value and features. Apple wins on polish and ecosystem lock-in. The only reason to pick the Series 11 over Samsung as an Android user is if you plan to switch to iPhone eventually, or you genuinely prefer square watches over circular ones. The verdict: if you own a Series 9 or 10, wait for the Series 12. These upgrades are too incremental. If you're on Series 8 or older, buy it now. The battery life alone transforms the experience, and the health features are legitimately life-changing. If you're on Android and considering your first smartwatch, buy the Galaxy Watch 8 instead unless you're switching to iPhone this year. This is the smartwatch Apple should have built 3 years ago. It's not revolutionary, it's not even particularly exciting, but for the first time in the Apple Watch's decade-long existence, you can use every feature without constantly checking the battery percentage, and that's worth $400. Just don't expect miracles. Expect a very good smartwatch that finally does the basics right. And sometimes that's exactly what you need.